What's up, guys? My name is Mac. This is The Game of Love, and in today's video I want to talk about the subconscious mind, what it is, how it functions, and how we can go about reprogramming it so that we can free ourselves of our limiting beliefs and our negative thinking and feeling loops. Now, this is a really tricky thing to talk about. I'm really excited to talk about it because it is the I want to say maybe it's the foundation of what everything else that I will be talking about on this channel will be. I didn't want to tackle it in my first couple videos because it is something that is so in-depth, and I'm going to do my best to explain as much of it as I can, given, keeping things relatively short here, but let's dive right in. So what is the subconscious mind? It is the part of our mind that governs all of our internal systems. It beats our heart for us, it breathes for us, it controls our immune function, it controls everything that we don't consciously think about in our body. But what it also does is it stores all of our memories and all of our past experiences, and it holds all of our beliefs as well. It is the thing that holds our personality intact, right? And so we experience our life, and there's like this voice in our head that just never stops, right? The truth is that you're not creating that voice in your head. I'm not creating the voice in my head. It just happens spontaneously. Our subconscious is generating those thoughts for us. And this becomes really clear if you take time, if you sit down with yourself and just watch how they just keep coming. Your mind just keeps going and going and going. Now, what's really interesting about this is that about 80%, give or take, depending on the person, but this is the general percentage here. 80% of our thoughts are negative, and that is across the board. And so if 80% of our thoughts are negative, and you can't think greater than you feel, your feeling and your thinking are tied completely together, 80% of our feeling tends to be negative. That sounds crazy because some of us probably aren't angry and upset or anxious 80% of the time, but even mild irritants, mild complaining, mild annoyance, all of that, impatience, is considered negative thinking, right? Because you're not positive, you're not free. So the subconscious mind is the thing that is generating our thinking. It's the thing that is creating that voice in our head, and 80% of it is negative, right? What do we do with that? We need to understand that part of ourselves a little bit better to know how we can do something about it. So all of our beliefs, everything we believe in, our political beliefs, our beliefs on the way that the world works, the beliefs about our self-worth, the beliefs about everything that we believe to be true is almost, it's given to us, right? So in our childhood, from ages 0 to 7 is when we are the most programmable. I'm going to use the word programmable because it's really good to think about the voice in your head and the belief systems that you hold as programs, because it kind of creates a little distance there so that you can view it as something that can be changed, because our programs can be changed. Our beliefs can be changed. Everything in our subconscious mind that refers to us as an individual and our story and our personality, it can be changed. And that's what this channel is all about. It's about change and becoming a new version of you. But we have to understand how to do that and how to get from point A to point B. And this is so true because in my life, I know all of this because I went from being anxious and depressed and angry and resentful and all of the negative emotions that we have access to as humans. And I felt that all the time, and I didn't know how to feel anything else. And so I had to teach myself about, how to reprogram yourself. So the truth is that in our childhood, all of our experiences that we lived through and the ways that the programs that our parents have and the people that we look up to the most, big influences in our life, all of that stuff is given to us for us, right? I'm not saying that we don't choose who we are, but so much of who we are is a result of where we were born in the world, the society we were born into, the country, the family, and it gets hardwired into us, our experiences. Like, let's say you get bullied or something, and then you have low self-worth after that experience, and that thought pattern of having low self-worth or of being weak or vulnerable gets lodged into you. The feeling and the thinking loop gets lodged into you, and those thoughts just keep spinning, and you don't question it, right? You're just like, the thinking that's going on in my head is me. And so we live our entire lives, and then we become adults, and we are running the exact same programs that we ran when we were, that we picked up along the way, that happened to us when we were kids. And we have just been living by the program of unworthiness, or, shame, or whatever it is, of anxiety, of, you get the point, right? So like, if your parents handled their stress in a very poor way, there's a good chance that you will also handle your stress in a very poor way. If your parents kind of didn't have very good relationship skills, there's a good chance that you yourself also will have poor relationship skills, unless you become aware that that is a program that you're running and you choose to be different, right? The thing is that not many people really know that this is happening, that the thoughts in their head are programs that were given to them. So the work is to realize that anytime that we're looping, that we're having negative thoughts, that we're having any belief, any part of who we are that we are not in love with, that we can change it, right? How do we change it? Because it seems like it's such a hard thing to do, right? I mean, if there was just one habit that you wanted to change about yourself, like, let's say, coffee. You wanted to stop drinking coffee for whatever reason. I'm not saying that coffee is bad. I'm just using this as an example. Just saying that I want to stop drinking coffee is not enough to get you to stop drinking coffee. Or, for me, if it was anxiety, or if it was, resentment, or whatever negative thought pattern that I had, or that anyone has, for that matter, just saying I want to stop being anxious is not enough to stop the anxiety. It's not enough to stop the resentment. It's not enough to stop the old patterns of who we are, right? And all it takes is something to trigger us, and then we immediately get looped right back into that pattern. So the work I did for myself, and it's the work that I want to help everyone understand, I want to try to explain it in a way that is simple and easy to understand, is through meditation. And I know that's a scary word for a lot of people, and I really don't want anyone to be afraid of meditation, but there's this idea that meditation means that you have to let go of your thinking and quiet your mind. And some people, they're overthinking so much that seems impossible and threatening and scary to them. And that's not it at all, right? I've said it before, I'll say it again. Meditation, you don't need to clear your mind. You just need to be aware. You need to witness. Meditation is time for you to practice sitting down and regulating yourself, because when you sit down to meditate, you breathe and you focus on your breath, and you take slow breaths, which naturally calms your nervous system down so that you can step back from the story of being you Step back from the program that your subconscious mind is constantly feeding you, and watch it, right? And then you can observe. But another really great thing about meditation is to know that it is a good training ground for you to practice who you want to become. Now, this is where this gets really, really fun, okay? So I said earlier that 80% of our thinking is negative. And if our thoughts and our feelings are completely tied together, right? So you can't think greater than you feel. If you feel anxious, your thoughts will be anxious. If you feel depressed, your thoughts will be depressed. If you feel angry, your thoughts will be angry. If you feel love, your thoughts will be very loving. If you feel peace, your thoughts will be peaceful, if there is even any thoughts to be had, right? So understanding that really helps us to realize that if what we're going after is our thinking, right? Because so often we and so many people identify with their thoughts as in, that is me. Whatever you think, you don't question it. You just say, this is right. This is me. It's my thinking. It's me. But understanding that it's not you, that it's a program, because meditation builds that awareness within you to understand that your thinking is not you, you're just witnessing it, and that it was given to you, right? But also understanding that the thinking and the feeling are completely tied together. The best way to change the way you think is to change the way that you feel. How do you do that? Because the programs that you have loop, and they are given, and you experience them every single day. You experience the same programs, right? Your subconscious mind holds all of your programs and feeds them to you every day, which is why your yesterday probably looked like your today, and your today will probably look like your tomorrow. But knowing that if you want to change your mind, you want to change your thinking, you need to change the way that you feel, right? So the way that you think and the way that you feel creates your personality. That's what your subconscious mind is. And your personality creates your personal reality, your experience of life. And what we all want is we all want to be happy. We all want to be loving. We all want to experience life that doesn't feel so hard and harsh and heavy. How do we change the way that we feel? Meditation is a great way for us to also imagine being who it is that we want to be. And now we can imagine having the perfect job, the perfect partner, the perfect car, the perfect whatever, right? We can imagine being this person, but what we really, 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 really need to focus on is how would that person feel? And more importantly, understanding that if 80% of our thinking is negative and our feeling is negative, then we need to learn how to feel better. This was huge for me because at one point I didn't know how to feel really, really good. It was so foreign to me. Like I just couldn't do it, you know? And so, yeah, I would sit down, and I recommend that if you were in my shoes, which I would assume that so many people are, of just feeling negative all the time, sit down and practice feeling good. There's many ways that you could do that. For me, it was just putting my attention when I would meditate in my chest, in my heart, almost imagining like I had nostrils in my chest and in my heart, and breathing from that space. And it brought a lot of energy there and opened me up, and I was able to start feeling really good emotions. There's also different types of meditation, like loving kindness meditation is a really good one, and you can go and get a meditation app if you want. You don't have to just go sit down and be silent. There are guided meditations where someone kind of talks you through the meditative process so that it's not as intimidating. One app that I like to use, and I'm not sponsored by them at all. I'm such a small channel. So this is just my personal recommendation, Insight Timer. It's free to use, and it's a great place to start. And so what we need to do is we need to become someone new, and we need to look at it that way. We need to look at who we are as almost not a machine, but a collection of programs. That is what makes up our personality. And then we get to sit back. Meditation gives us space to sit back and pick and tune and tweak the parts of ourselves that we no longer need, because we don't need to be stressed out all the time. We don't need to be anxious all the time. We don't need to be angry all the time. And you can apply this to any scenario. I've said it in one of my last videos, but like if you have road rage and you don't want to have road rage anymore, or if you argue with your spouse or your brother, your sister, your parents, or your coworkers, and you just don't want to argue anymore because it never leads to anything good, then you can imagine who you would be and how you would feel if you were someone who didn't have road rage, if you were someone who didn't argue with anyone, right? And how would that person have to show up? Meditation is a great place for us to practice being that person, so that whenever those experiences happen to us in our day-to-day waking life, we have primed ourselves to know how we want to show up in that experience, right? That, to me, is how I was able to change who I am. And I absolutely went from being stressed all the time. Forget 80%. I was stressed 95 to 99% of the time. And it was so bad. I've said it in one of my previous videos, but my blood pressure was so high that I was told that I could have a heart attack. And that is the other really big part of all of this, is that if you are stressed out all the time, 80% is huge. It's killing us. None of our internal systems are operating the way that they should when we are in a state of fight or flight all the time. So it's very beneficial. Meditation is very, very beneficial, because you get to learn how to regulate yourself. You get to learn how to calm yourself down, and not just while you're asleep. You get to rest while you're awake, and you get to imagine a future you that you want to become, because again, your thoughts and your feelings create your personality, and your personality creates your personal reality. So if you want a new personal reality, if you want your experience of life to be full of love and compassion and joy and bliss and awe, then you have to change your personality. And meditation is the tool that I've used to change my personality, and I hope that it works for you. And if you have any questions, please leave me a comment below. You can email me at thisgameoflove@gmail.com. That's all I have for this video. I hope you guys are having a beautiful day, and I'll see you in the next one.